Democrats win on health care, environment, women's rights, respect for but on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption. So that's the takeaway there.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I just read Kamala Harris's new book, 107
No,
Days.
you didn't.
I did?
No.
Kamala Harris has just released her latest literary creation, an autobiography that feels more like an elaborate excuse manual for losing the election. Spoiler alert, the word accountability doesn't appear anywhere in the table of contents. Every page drips with selective memories, self-pitying monologues, and the sort of progressive prose that sounds profound at first glance, but falls apart the moment you read it twice.
When they ask who has a better plan, Republicans crushing it on crime, immigration, wars, the economy, even corruption. Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are f***ing stupid.
But then strides in our anti-woke gladiator, Bill Maher. Armed with his scalpel of sarcasm and absolutely no anesthesia, he dissects Kamala's excuses with surgical precision. In just a few cutting remarks, he exposes her true form of bewildered, disconnected, and hopelessly theatrical politician pretending to be a profound thinker. Brace yourself, because this verbal incision is going to sting.
Perpetuating victimhood, especially when it's false, is not a great advertisement for leadership. Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me. 107 Days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion, and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump.
Bill Maher kicked things off by ripping into Kamala Harris's book title, 107 Days. To him, that title alone was a masterclass in spin, a self-pitying attempt to frame her loss as a tragic tale of not enough time. But Maher wasn't buying it for a second. He reminded everyone that Harris had one of the fattest campaign wallets in modern history, a mainstream media that treated her like political royalty, and roughly 75 million voters ready to check any box with a D next to it. Complaining about having only 107 days, he argued, wasn't tragic, it was pure comedy. In classic Maher fashion, he said what everyone else was thinking: Kamala had every possible advantage, yet still managed to stumble spectacularly.
In 107 days, nothing is ever Kamala's fault. Biden lets her down by not stepping down sooner. Pouty face emoji. Gavin Newsom, he was asked for his endorsement, but texted, "Hiking, we'll call back." But then never did. And then he didn't even ask her to prom. America itself lets Kamala down by not being ready for the running mate she really wanted, Pete Buttigieg. So she's stuck with the Home Depot paint salesman. And the rest is herstory. Poor Kamala. We made her the star of a rom-com and didn't even give her a gay best friend.
Kamala Harris didn't just write a book, she crafted a full-blown political telenovela. In its pages, she boldly throws her former boss, Joe Biden, under the campaign bus, claiming he refused to step aside soon enough for her to save democracy. She even tosses in a few not-so-subtle jabs at his mental clarity, so much for loyalty. But Harris doesn't stop there. She expands her blame game to include America itself, accusing the nation of not being ready for a female president. Why face reflection when deflection works just fine? And in true Kamala fashion, she tops it off by blaming her downfall on not landing her dream running mate, Pete Buttigieg. When the mirror gets uncomfortable, she always seems to find a scapegoat.
Kamala writes that on election night, when it was clear she lost, an aide peeled the words "Madam President" off the cupcakes before handing them out. Oh, geez, that's like a scene from Bridget Jones Runs for President, for Christ's sake.
This part could qualify for the Comedy Hall of Fame. Kamala actually blames part of her downfall on an aide who removed president stickers from cupcakes before handing them to voters. Apparently, that tiny act of betrayal was the butterfly effect that doomed her campaign. The funny part? The aide only did it because, by then, it was obvious Kamala had already lost to Donald Trump. So yes, cupcakes have officially become part of political tragedy. Maher couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity. While everyone else saw a failed campaign, Kamala saw a frosting conspiracy. You couldn't make this up, but she somehow did.
Look, ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and strong.
Exactly. The women of the DNC have built an image of being unbreakable, fearless icons who never flinch or falter. It's all about projecting dominance, not showing humanity. They play the Iron Lady act, hiding any sign of softness as if empathy were weakness. But that's the irony, by trying so hard to appear bulletproof, they only come off as robotic. Real strength isn't about being made of steel, it's about daring to be human.
It wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the woman show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha.
Here's why Bill Maher went after the ladies of The View. They struck first, mocking him for questioning why they'd gone silent during the Jimmy Kimmel controversy. But Maher, being Maher, didn't take that quietly. He called out their so-called courage as nothing more than staged theater. When Kimmel got suspended and rumors spread that The View might be next, the usually loud panel suddenly went silent, no hot takes, no moral stands, just careful quiet. But as soon as Kimmel was cleared to return, their bold opinions magically resurfaced. Maher nailed it, their bravery only shows up once it's safe to be brave.
Then on the 5th day, they rose and said, "No one silences us. No one had to. You silenced yourself." Whoopi Goldberg continued, "Did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel? No, I thought you would, but then you didn't." 5 days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're making my point.
Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, and Ana Navarro have become the poster faces of selective courage, bold when it's safe, silent when it's risky. They built their careers on outrage, using cancel culture as a weapon against anyone who dares to disagree. But when that same fire turns toward them, they suddenly become cautious, dodging the very fury they once unleashed. They know how destructive cancellation can be, they've let enough of them. Now, they tiptoe to avoid becoming the next target. It's poetic in a tragicomic way, the Justice Crusaders trembling before their own creation. Yet somehow, they keep sending the mob after others, performing their hypocrisy with Broadway-level precision, rehearsed, polished, and broadcast in HD.
Polling came out, and this is really, I'm speaking to the Democrats especially here, because Trump's numbers are down. They're down with Latinos, they're down with blacks, they're down 15 points with whites. And when whites say, "You're not hip anymore," ooh. And yet, in the other poll, on issues, Trump still winning. So this is your big opportunity, Democrats. He's down in the numbers, and you still can't score.
The DNC just can't seem to pull itself together, and the reasons read like a tragic sequel. There's no real leader, no voice strong enough to inspire confidence or steer the party through chaos. Instead, it's trapped in an echo chamber, still dancing to the tune of the fringe woke left. It's become a political terrarium where groupthink thrives and dissent is snuffed out before it sparks. Rather than confronting reality, they cling to fantasy, mistaking hashtags for strategy. And to top it off, Kamala Harris has started throwing her own party under the bus. Instead of owning one of the biggest failures in DNC history, she's busy rewriting the past and perfecting the blame game. It's chaos disguised as leadership, and the Democrats are paying the price.
Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are stupid. 2 points on respect for democracy. Democrats win on healthcare, environment, women's rights, respect for democracy. But on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption.
Trump's popularity might have dipped a little, but that's hardly surprising. Keeping rock star momentum after a political comeback like his is nearly impossible. Still, where it really matters on the issues that hit home, he's holding strong. Voters still link him to a better economy, tougher border policies, and a confident America First stance abroad. He may not win every popularity contest, but when it comes to performance, he's still leading the pack.
Democrats win on healthcare, environment, women's rights, respect for, but on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption. So that's the takeaway there.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I just read Kamala Harris's new book, 107
No,
Days.
you didn't.
I did?
No, you didn't. I'll say a lot of lies on this show, but I won't take that. I will not accept that.
That's pretty much the Democratic Party's entire strategy these days, the endless Stop Trump tour. It's become their brand, their obsession, their only play. They've drained every drop of energy from the anti-Trump narrative, treating it like a political lifeline. It worked for Biden once, but when Kamala tried the same script, voters were over it. People were tired of constant Trump bashing and wanted real ideas, solutions, leadership, vision. Instead, they got an empty stage filled with slogans and fog. No clear economic plan, no border policy, no direction. After years of defining themselves by their hatred for one man, the outrage has finally burned out, and all that's left is an echo, hollow, leaderless, and out of touch.
It's like a diary of what happened, but I was looking for, okay, and what's the plan for the future? There wasn't any, and she's just indicative of the party at large. And by the way, that's one of the reasons she lost.
She's rewriting history in the book, too. She's now against men and women's sports. Like, come on. Like, they tried to dismantle Title IX against women when she was vice president.
Right. I mean, that's just one of many examples.
She could have had 701 days and would have still lost that race.
But you're right. The data says it's cost of living, it's inflation, it's immigration, illegal immigration, right. All those things. Everything else is at the bottom.
And by the way,
law and order crime.
107 days, way too many for anybody, but including her.
Right.
But the more they got to know her, the less they liked her. I've said this many times on this show. Other countries don't do this. They don't have years to run.
Maher was spot on, and the more Americans saw of Kamala Harris, the less impressed they became. The Hollywood endorsements, staged photo ops, and forced charm all felt hollow. Beneath the buzzwords was nothing but rehearsed lines and that nervous laugh that became her trademark. When faced with real questions, she dodged or stumbled. Voters wanted authenticity but got a campaign built on optics. Maher didn't need to take her down, she did that herself.
They call an election, and they have an election in a month.
Yeah, and nor the influence of money. We should do that. Right?
That's going to be hard to get rid of. They've tried. But, no, it's like you don't need 100 days. You need 107 days. You tell people your plan. This is what I am for. This is my thing. You're selling something. You're selling a vacuum cleaner. If I'm selling a vacuum cleaner, I'll tell you why I think it's best. Am I going to tell you every goddamn day for 2 years? Did I tell you about the attachment that gets under the... Yeah, you did. You told me 1,000 times.
In the end, Maher's takedown of Kamala Harris and the Democratic establishment was sharp, honest, and brutal. The DNC looks lost, no real leader, no clear message, and no connection to everyday Americans. Between Kamala's blame game, The View's fake courage, and the party's obsession with Trump, it's clear they've lost their way. Maher just said what many already think: Democrats aren't losing because of Trump, they're losing in spite of him. Until they drop the wokeness and face accountability, they'll keep writing memoirs of failure instead of stories of redemption. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more sharp takes.